When I'm working with a client or with a couple, there's a powerful and a really important truth that holds steady, honestly, no matter what. No matter how messy things are, or how confused or resentful or numb or exhausted you feel, no matter whether the issue in your relationship is obvious to you or if you're just really confused about why things are so hard right now, this truth still holds. And I also want to be clear that I don't like black and white labels about people or relationships. I feel like the internet has an obsession with defining what makes toxic people and red flags or green flags a thing. And I don't believe most relationship advice grounded in that stuff is actually useful in the context of life's messiness. So here's the thing that in spite of all of that, I still find is always useful to come back to. It's that your relationship challenges are not random. Challenges you're facing in your relationship are invitations. Invitations to become the person that you are here to be. Invitations to serve the world and your family and your community in ways that fulfill and inspire you. The invitations to become the person that can navigate life's many uncertainties and still remain open. To stay sensitive to what is needed of you. And when it's called for, to access your groundedness and your steadiness. The truth is that your relationship problems are the invitation to stop surviving your life and to start creating the one that you want. Because love will magnify all the places where you're not yet free. And the pressure of that magnification is what makes relationships both sacred and difficult. But when you accept the invitation to growth that your relationship is offering you, you're actually giving yourself the keys to unlock your highest potential. And in this episode, I want to help you use them wisely. Stay with me. This is Reclaiming the Gentle Man. I'm Dave Lashansky. If your relationship is trying to grow you, what does that even mean? Right? When I was a kid, I remember watching movies and TV and picking up on everything a guy could do to make a girl feel good. I remember clocking how important grand gestures were. This was the big one, right? How powerful a man was when he could sweep her off her feet. How powerful he looked when he did it, and how much she loved him when he did. And I committed every element of a grand gesture to memory as a kid. The importance of surprise, of overwhelming her with abundance in some form, like flowers or expensive jewelry or a grand date venue. It's important to have a plan in your head of all the elements and how they smoothly flow together to create an experience. And I remember even as a kid starting to imagine how I could act that way toward a woman that I liked. Now, in reflecting on it, I think what I was really drawn to in my study of the grand gesture was not love, but it was the performance of love that would get me what I wanted. That would get me her attention. That would make me appear like a hero. That would help me earn her love and her sex and her devotion. And what I was learning also, without it being really clear to me, was that who I am would never be enough to receive these things from a woman. that I needed literally and figuratively to sweep her off her feet in order for her to love me. And as I'm sitting with those memories of watching these grand gestures and imagining how powerful I'd feel when I could give them to a woman I liked, when I sit with what I was taught that it would take for me to be loved and valued as a partner, I can feel the rush of anxiety in my body. I can feel the constriction in my chest. I can feel the fear of the consequences when those plans going awry, or if she doesn't like it, or if I get something wrong, or if it's not good enough for her, for whatever reason. And for most of my relationships through my 20s, most of my actions toward my partner were coming from this place, this need to be loved as a man who could sweep her off her feet. And honestly, it was exhausting. I was anxious. It felt like it was never going to be enough. Like if I stopped thinking about how I was going to sweep her off her feet or stopped planning for it, that I'd never get her to love me the way that I really wanted her to. And this exhaustion from feeling this way, the anxiety I felt, made me pretty hard to be around. Because when I wasn't focused on our long-term happiness, on earning the money I'd need to really sweep her off her feet, my gaze, literally and figuratively, was on how I could distract her from how I wasn't there yet. On what minimal things I could offer right now that might show her how good I was. And it was obvious to her that I was anxious about this. Especially because the thing she needed most from me, the thing that would actually unlock all the things that I wanted from her, was my genuine and steady presence. It was the ability to plan from a place of consciously choosing the life we want to build together with her input, with her knowing me and feeling my desire to give that to us through my presence. What she wanted was for me to meet her gaze without the shame, without the anxiety, without the fear that I'm not good enough. I think so many of us miss this in our relationships. And it's honestly the grandest invitation that love makes to us. Because the thing that actually sweeps her off her feet is real and steady presence. It's not the performance of love. It's not the performance of strength or devotion. Because the grand gesture means absolutely nothing if the man offering it is preoccupied with his own thoughts or his fears. If his gaze isn't locked into hers, but it's off in the distance. If his heart isn't open to her. And for most men, this ends up being the case at some point in their relationship, because at some point in our relationships, we hit a bump where it becomes really hard to meet her gaze, where we have to confront something, known to us or not, that makes that difficult. And in that moment, navigating the growth that our relationship is inviting us into is really hard. It feels like walking in the dark with nothing guiding you and no sign that you're even moving at all, let alone in the right direction. And this is why I emphasize so often how important it is to get support, and why I teach men to explore their early programming from the root up in my 21-day program. Because the things we learned as kids, right? The things like my believing I had to sweep her off her feet to be valuable, have a huge impact on our relationships. That stuff is everything. And the recurring fight The one that every little argument somehow circles back to probably has a lot more to do with your childhood programming than you think. This is the invitation that great love makes to us. It's the invitation to finally unravel whatever the pattern, whatever the belief system is that is keeping you feeling like you're on a treadmill and going nowhere and not able to face or conquer whatever it is that's taking you out of the moment, taking you out of your presence, especially with her. And listen, when I talk about tackling that thing, tackling the root of our problems, right? That early childhood trauma or whatever it is, I get that it might feel like big, hairy, scary stuff. Not just because that's not fun to investigate. It's not fun to look at the stuff that makes us shut down or believe that we're not good enough or not worthy enough, right? But also because for some of us, the invitation love is making is drawing hard boundaries around the respect that we need from our partner, the respect that honors ourselves, right? For some of us, the growth that relationship is calling us toward is learning how to leave. But here's the thing. I believe strongly that most relationships end too early or without the actual learning that needs to take place. I think the thing that we're really most afraid of is not being alone or being hurt, but risking being seen as we truly are. Flawed and vulnerable, sometimes childish and immature, and yet still allowing ourselves to be worthy of and accepting love. But that only happens if we let it. That's the invitation that if you choose to accept, and it's not one to take lightly, but when you do, that mysterious thing called love, that mysterious state of presence in the gaze of someone who really sees you, will be worth every ounce of courage it took to get there. Thank you for listening to this episode of Reclaiming the Gentle Man. If this episode stirred something in you, if you recognized yourself in any of this, don't ignore that. You are brave enough to heed that call, and you don't have to do it alone. If you are unsure how to do that, if you don't have a group of men to support you, if you don't have a great therapist or coach in your life, get in touch. Go to davelashansky.com, sign up for one of my many upcoming totally free workshops where you will get to process this stuff, work on this stuff, receive a roadmap for how to navigate these relationship problems for free in community. If you're enjoying the podcast, the best ways you can support me is by sharing it with a friend, sharing one of my workshops with a friend, and subscribing and leaving a review wherever you listen. Again, you can go to davelashansky.com to keep in touch with me, and I would love to hear from you if you are receiving something, getting something from this show, or if you have a question about some of the things I talk about. Wishing you a beautiful day or night, wherever you are. I'll be back in a week.